Oh man, we live, baby. We live. We lit, baby. We lit. What's really good, family tree? Let me know that everybody's up in the building by simply hitting the like button off the bat. Cheese. Hey, what's good, family? You know what I'm gonna do as well, yeah? Is because I know you guys love to come in and have fun. So we're gonna do this straight away. I'm gonna just post up the link if I can actually pin it, that would be awesome as well. Yeah, that's the link right there. So you guys know it's straight there. Just go there, find it in the comment section and join us. Okay. Yeah. So this is a continuation of the Ramadan series. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to be here for too long, not to be too long-winded. So we're going to catch up on what we've done already. Yeah, let's catch up on what we've done already. So one of our the very first of the Ramadan series was the mysteries of Muhammad in the cave that kickstarted the Ramadan series. We went through, okay, well, what we're currently doing actually is going through the Syria literature. Yeah, we're going through the Syria literature. For those of you guys that know about the Syria literature, that is literally the biography of the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah. So, and in that itself, what have we discovered? We discovered a lot of Christian materials, a lot of Christian material. What do I mean by Christian material? We discovered something called hagiology. This is basically, the literature for, or the how do I put it? Yeah, it's the form of literature that you use to actually describe saints and prophets and so forth. And you can kind of see how the authors of the biographies was utilizing certain themes and motifs from that, from other saints. So, for example, we talked about Bakum, which was a Copt that was mentioned as the carpenter that actually built the Kaaba or rebuilt the Kaaba, some would say. Okay, so there was a rebuilding of the Kaaba, and it was done via a Christian Egyptian Copt using materials that was for an Abyssinian or an Ethiopian church. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. But when we go into, the famous Bakum, okay, the famous Bakum that's known in Egypt as Pakum, okay, and in the Greek transliteration or the Greek transliteration, yeah, Pacumius, we find out that he has a very similar story with the Prophet Muhammad. He too, went away in solitary confinement in a cave. He too, got visited by an angel. He too received commands. He too received laws. He too received how guiding principles for his community. Okay, yeah, and he literally kickstart the whole monastic um institution within inside of Christianity itself. Like everybody owes it to this Egyptian guy or Upper Egyptian guy, Nubian guy, however you want to classify him. So yeah, so we went through that and we saw that is very similar stuff. We also went through and we saw that there was the whole motif for 40 years when receiving a call to now go out into humanity and teach people and miracles and so forth. So we saw it. It's all there. Like it's nothing new. We just simply see that these writers of the biography are just picking up, or or even some people are styling the prophet in such a way. Whether it happened or whether it didn't happen, we can discuss later on. But yeah, so we done that. We also went through the caves. Like we asked the question, what was Muhammad doing in the cave? Why was he there? Like, how did he know about the cave? You said he was doing meditations. Like, who taught him meditations and so forth and so forth, right? Like we needed to know what was what's going on with the cave. That's a random thing, right? You would think it's a random thing. But as to find out, it's not a random thing. Why is it not a random thing? Because his mentor used to reside at the cave. His mentor would teach him the rudiments or the rudimentary philosophy and concepts of Islam, right? And we're going to go into that in a little while. I'm just going through the rudiments for you right now, but we're going to go through what exactly was this person practicing. And then we're going to find out who else was practicing these things. And was Muhammad a part of this particular cult or religion or system or whatever you want to call it? Like what's going on? So we find out, there was his mentor, which was Zayd ibn Amr, was there doing these things. We also found out that Zayd ibn Amr was actually buried inside of the cave of Hira. Dun, dun, dun. I know. We don't get to hear certain things like this. But, so we asked the question, was this a practice, was Muhammad doing a practice that's known as incubation or a ritual? Yeah, dream incubation ritual. This is basically the practice. Actually, let me see if I can do this. Let me see, because I still got it up from yesterday, actually. Boom, boom, boom. Let me just share my screen real quickly. So, yeah, incubation. Okay, incubation in late Christianity. That's all right. Let's see if we got it. So this is from Brill, incubation in late antique Christianity, a bibliographical survey analysis of the sources where dreams may come true, from Jill H. Renberg. Okay, so in here, this is just a little quick preview. So it's just talking about incubation in late antique Christianity. The nature and the role of incubation among Christians of late antiquity and the centuries that followed is a subject both illuminated and complicated by numerous sources and merits a book-length study in its own thing. So anyways, it goes through, talks about, this stuff was taking place within the Greco-Roman period. This is really like a pagan thing, to be honest. Like that's who really originated these things. But when Christianity took it over, instead of incubating for like the gods Osiris and Isis and Aphrodite or something like that, they started doing it for the saints. So they will go into the shrines and they will take some time and they will sleep there. Let's quickly see, is there anything that we can see there real quickly that we can just pick up on? Well, it's here anyway. Okay, it's all here. You can read it. These are the footnotes as well. Okay. So yeah. There's a whole thing of incubation that was taking place. It's not just the Christians. It's like Jews used to do it as well. Yeah, Jews used to do it as well. So this is a whole thing that they will go into a particular place and sleep in tombs or shrines where there's relics, or there is relics or something. Like, it has to be a sacred spot, right? And we also see that inside of, we spoke about this yesterday, actually. We spoke about, if you go into the Syrian literature, right? Go into the Syrian literature, you can see that this whole dream incubation thing was something that was going on. Because who does it first? Who does it first in the Syrian literature? We find that the discovery of the Zamzam well was also done via dream incubation. What do I mean? We have Muhammad's grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. He went into the Hijr. The Hijr is a place within inside of the sacred precinct of the Kaaba. It's a semicircular spot where Ismail and Hagar were said to be buried. Okay, so he went there. He, pulled up his couch. He slept. He got a vision, of some type of being visiting him, and the whole motif of 3 times he says a word, who is that, what is that, second word, what is this, third word, what is that, what is this, and then on the the final time they now explained it, Zamzam, this is where you will find blah blah blah, or this is what it is. Okay, and then he now goes off and does his pickaxe and finds Zamzam. So we see that there, like, and then we see also, of course, Muhammad now going in to the caves of Hira and doing exactly the same thing. The whole, I'm sleeping where as a holy man is buried. Holy person is buried. Zayd ibn Amr is actually buried, who said via Islamic traditions that he's going to heaven, even though he wasn't a Muslim. He's going to go to heaven. That's one of the only peoples that we hear about in his contemporary time is going to heaven, even though he wasn't a Muslim, right? So he slept there, he got the dream, the whole 3 things, read, and then finally it's elucidated, read in the name of your Lord, etc. And that's where we get the first Quranic verses. And we also find as well, if you know about the mirage, okay, when Muhammad now does his night journey, okay, he too, now pulls up and actually sleeps. If you go into the, we might go through this. We could bring this up if you lot want to, but yeah, he now goes in. He goes in the Hijr again. This is the sacred precinct where Ismail and Hagar is said to be buried. He sleeps there. Supposedly Gabriel kicks his foot one time. Who is that? What is that? Can't see anybody. 2 times. Who is that? What is that? Can't hear nobody. 3rd time. And then finally, Gabriel now takes him up, and the whole mirage takes place, or the night journey takes place. The whole motif. You just see the motif this 3 times, and then finally something else happens. So this is just there, like it's just there. It's just very interesting to actually read it. For a person who loves literature, like I just love it. I love it. Anyway, so we went through all of that. We went through the incubation stuff. He gets to see his vision. We briefly spoke upon the vision that he received. So yeah, he received the vision. He also, off the read, he also receives a second vision, even if you read it correctly. It's all depending upon the order, though. But yeah, he receives a second vision where he now sees a divine being sitting on the throne in the middle of the heavens and earth, basically. And he looks up and he looks down. No, he looks up, he looks down, he looks right, and he looks left. Jesus Christ, did I just sign the cross right there? Anyways. Now he goes to Khadija, and then Khadija takes him to Waraqa. Waraqa says, you know what? Let me question you about your vision. And Waraqa is said to be a Christian, right? Questions him on his vision. So what did you see? He's like, yes, I saw this. I saw this. And who is this? What does he say to you? He is referred to as the Lord. He is referred to as the one who creates, the one who is the instructor or teacher of men. Interesting. So he's the Lord, he is the creator, and he instructs men. And then he also has the title of the truth. You saw all of this. And he sits on a throne. I'm a Christian. I've heard of these things before. Somebody seeing a light and hearing voices and falling down on their knees. Sounds a lot like Paul, don't it? But anyways, and then he sends you out and says you're going to be a messenger or a prophet. If I do my mathematicians correctly, I believe you encountered the Namuz. And this word Namuz, yeah, throws off a lot of people. Western scholarship ain't got a clue. Let me go back. Islamic scholarship, was we don't have a clue what this means. Is this the angel Gabriel? Western scholarship will tell you, no, this means nomos. This is the Greek term for the law. This must be talking about the God of the law. But if you read it specifically, says no, nomos, as it is an individual or a person. But if you know anything about church fathers, early church fathers, ante-Nicene church fathers. We brought it up actually on here. We showed that this was just another name for Jesus. Jesus had titles such as the Logos, i.e. the word, and he had titles such as Nomos, the law. Okay. And we showed it, we brought it up yesterday. We showed, the preachings of Peter, Clement of Alexandria, the Stromata, with Justin Martyr. We brought all these sources, right, to show this is the term that they used to call Jesus, the law, right? So as a Christian, Waraqa, he said what he said. He said what he said. You had a vision of the Lord. You had a vision of the Lord. And his Lord would have been was the equation of Jesus. But I don't want to cause too much controversy. That's what was said, It's either somebody comes and says something different, but that's what was said. All right, easy. Cool. So we done that. We done that yesterday. Yeah. And we're fully ready. And if anybody wants to like ask questions, yeah, if anybody is ready to ask questions or to argue a point, we're ready. And like you know how we do. We don't just say things. We always have the sources to back it up. Always. Otherwise, we try not to speak. There's no sources. So yeah. So that was done. Okay. And we even asked, for the audience to be like, if you was in, a Christian shoe or a Jewish shoe or whatever else shoe, like who would this person be to you? Of course, we talked about Metatron. Sorry, we also said Metatron, right? We also said Metatron, which if you know anything about if you know anything, Metatron is the Son of Man. Metatron is equated to the angel of the Lord, the Yahweh, and so forth, right? And obviously, in Christian thought, we all know who the angel of the Lord, who the Yahweh is, who is the Word of God, and so forth. That this is Jesus Christ, right? So the pre-incarnated form would be Metatron in his angelic form or in his spiritual form, and then when he was manifest on earth, i.e., the Word becoming flesh, we know him as Jesus, right? So I don't even want to. So we have that there. Anyways, so now, we've gone through the cave, we've gone through the vision, we've gone through what Waraqa said it was. Yeah, we're saying like, who would you think this person was? Like, if all the description, remember this is a text that's meant to, convince us that Muhammad is a prophet, right? It convinced a very learned individual. Remember Waraqa, yeah, was schooled in Jewish literature, the Torah and Jewish literature. He was schooled in Christianity and Christian literature. He was schooled in human knowledge, they say, right? Remember, he was a Hanafi. And this is the topic we're going to discuss today, Hanafiism and Ethiopia. We're going to go into that. So school and all of that. So he had an idea, he had an idea or two. All right. And that's what he came up with. But I wanted to know, like, if this person, if somebody today now told you, regardless if you believe in religion, believe in Islam, believe in Christianity or not, if someone told you this, but you was very wise in all of this knowledge, right? Who would you say that Muhammad now had, or this person now is having a vision of? And we wanted to do that. We wanted to have an enterprise of that. Like, what are we pulling from based upon what was said, that you can come up with an idea of who is this person meant to be? Who is this Lord? All right, so we did that yesterday. Now today, we're now going to go a little bit deeper into someone says a demon, Which demon was it? Was it Beelzebub? Okay, so yeah, today we're going to go into the Ethiopian connection, right? Ethiopia's secret relationship with Islam. And what we're going to do there, we're going to talk about the four men that broke from polytheism. It's like I'm literally just going into the Cyril literature, and just pulling out, because this is all to do with the Ramadan series, right? And for you guys who don't know, Ramadan is literally this month for Muslims, the month of burning. And it is when Muhammad received his first revelation. So we're just going through everything that's within inside of that. How can I put it? Not chapter, that section. We're going to go through that little section within inside of the Cyril literature, the biography of Muhammad. We're going through these things, and these are the little things that was leading up. If you see it, you have the four men that broke from polytheism, them teaching him his revelation and so forth. So we're just going through it all, but we're going to just elucidate. We're just going to shed more light to it, because more times we don't really know. We just hear the story and we just say, okay, we've heard. But let's just go into the detail of what was really going on. Of course, yeah, we went into the church that was being built 5 years before his revelation. So this is all part of the same section within inside of the Cyril literature. All right, so today we're going to go about the four men that broke with polytheism. Okay, we're going to talk about their Ethiopian connection. These four men, which were known as the Hanafiya or the Hunafites or whatever you want to call them. All right, so I need to bring up their names. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a quick Wikipedia. I'm going to do it. You don't mind me doing a quick Wikipedia, do you? Yeah, let me do a quick Wikipedia. Hey, David is up in the building. Peace to him. Yeah, but let me just quickly share screen again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Chrome tab. Boom, boom. It was here before. So let me just get this up. This just makes life easy. And someone don't tell me, but yo, Wikipedia in. Wikipedia's all right, you know. It's all right, you know. If you just need to get quick information up, but you know we got books for days. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. So yeah, we're going to be discussing the four friends in Mecca from Ibn Ishaq's account. So these are the four people that broke away from polytheism. They were known as the Hanifites or the Hanif. That's Zayd ibn Amr, Waraqa ibn Naful, Uthman ibn al-Huwayth, and Ubaydullah ibn Jash. Okay. All right. These are the four individuals we're going to discuss. Jeez, we might even have to actually jump into Abdul Muttalib as well, because most people don't even know. Yeah, Sheba or Abdul Muttalib was also a Hanafite. And we're going to go into what is Hanafiya. Yeah, we're going to go into all of that today. We're going to go into all of that today. So, um, what I'm going to say is just make a claim. I'm going to make a claim that all of these guys are connected to Ethiopia. That's number one. All of these guys are connected to Ethiopia. They no, they are either of Ethiopian ancestry. They are. Do you know what? To be honest with you, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they all are of Ethiopian ancestry. They all are of Ethiopian ancestry. This might come back and bite me because I'm going to have to pull out the records, yeah, in all the little books to tell you that they're of Ethiopian ancestry, right? So we know that Zayd ibn Amr, okay, who is, yeah, Zayd ibn Amr is of Ethiopian ancestry via his grandmother or mother, one of those twos. We know that Uthman, okay, via his mother, is of Ethiopian ancestry, uh, and so forth. Like I can keep on going with the names, but I'm gonna have to pull out all the records, and I ain't got time for that right now. So most of these guys are, I'm gonna put it like this, are Ethiopian ancestry or have Ethiopian connection. So, for example, we know that Waraqa ibn Naful was a minister in Ethiopia. Right? He even used to go back and tell, you know, according to the Islamic records, he used to go back to, and tell the Najashi what was going on in Mecca, mate. Like, what's going on here? Yeah. We also know that Abdul Muttalib is of Ethiopian ancestry as well and had a nice connection with the Najashi as well. So, like, the Ethiopian connection is so flipping strong, but that's going to be, we could go into detail another time. We're going to go into detail another time. We're going to talk about the Hanif and what they were, who they were, and what they represented. That's what we're going to go in. But before we do that, let me actually go in the comment section. Let me go into the comment section. So if you want my attention right now, y'all know what you got to do. Tag Titans TV. Now, better yet, if you truly want my attention, how about hitting us up with the super chat, baby? Hit us up with a super chat and drop a comment. Yeah, that's how we do it. Show some love. Show some love. Hit us up with the super chat. All right. Or hit us up on the Cash App as well, baby. Let me go through the comments because you know I haven't gone through the comments as of yet. Let me drop also the link. Okay, it's inside of the comment section if you want to join us. Yeah, I'm gonna just do a quick presentation of information, and afterwards we'll open up. We just discuss. You know how we do. All right, let's go. What you found out on your beliefs? Let's see. Turns TV. What you found out on your beliefs and knowledge? Man, like serious eye is up here. Sun Tzu again says, "Give us references." You just said, yeah, yeah, yeah. We will be. Thought for video you could do origins of the Islamic prayer. Ooh. So you know what? Yeah, I downloaded a big boy PhD. Sorry, someone's doctorate on that as well. You know, big boy on that one. It was very interesting. Let's see. I heard that Waraqa teaches Muhammad things. Yeah. Of course. Okay. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Kalam, make it plain, G. Jeez, man. Alama Bay. I salute to Lama, you know. Let me just give it a. And the ball was good. Okay, we're just getting straight through. We're just getting straight through. I just want to make sure everybody is here now. Yeah, everybody's just represented real quickly. Um, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. Callum, the Quran incorrectly mentions Mary as being one of the Trinity. So how can the messenger be Jesus? How would he not know that it is not the Trinity? Do you know what? Yeah, I've always questioned, yeah, whether the Quran actually discusses the Trinity. I don't even think it's the Quran actually discusses the Trinity. If I am wrong, please correct me. Okay, what he's discussing there is called tritheism. Okay, tritheism, and again, like it's one of those ones. Yeah, if you do not read Christian literature, I'm not talking about Christian literature. Let me say Christian literature prior to the 600s. Yeah, you wouldn't get it because you don't know about all the different heresies that exist. We only know, like, as we're in the Western world, we only know about, like, a certain form of Christianity that the rest of the Christianities we're not exposed to, and most of them have died out. But yeah, no, there was a group of people within inside of the Arabian Peninsula, mind you, that held to a form of tritheism where Mary was actually a deity. Okay, so the Quran could quite possibly be talking about that. It seems as though it is talking about that because we have writings that places this particular Christian sect within inside of Arabia and has a lot of information about them within it, and it goes explains it, and I don't know if it refutes it, but it explains it indeed, and that's Christian literature, and it's just talking about different heresies in Christendom. So yeah, that's that. Um, let's have a good conversation. Yeah, yeah. Angels in the Bible come with peace and love. Muhammad was ready to kill himself after seeing the demon. Um, hmm, maybe not. Maybe not. Um, it's one of those ones here where anytime you see a divine being in loads of cultures, it's always down to like bowing down out of fear and reverence. There's this fear and reverence. And then, you know how like they really try to act. You have to realize, yeah, these people are really great storytellers. So it sounds mad to us today, but I would assume if you try to get the point that they were trying to get across, is that Muhammad was so righteous, so righteous that he feared that it could possibly be this, and he would rather have died or killed himself, threw himself off the hills if he was ever possessed by a devil. Like that's how pure and good he was. But us reading it now when we got like a skeptical mind, we don't see that angle. We just simply see it as, yeah, no, this nigga was possessed, man. Like what? But storytellers are trying to tell a particular point, and I don't think that's the point that they were trying to tell. They were trying to tell the point that this guy was such a good holy man that he wouldn't. He was so scared. Like, could this really be happening to me? I'm such a humble individual. This can't possibly be this. The Prophet Muhammad drink alcohol. You'll find, I do not recall seeing anywhere. Oh, let me just put this up. I do not recall in the Hadith literature where Muhammad drank alcohol. His companions, on the other hand, did drink alcohol. Okay, did drink alcohol, and in fact, in certain groups such as the Mutasilites, continue to drink alcohol. Um, it's all dependent upon how you interpret the verses within inside of the Quran. And yeah, they were allowed. They still drank alcohol. Okay. Let's see. Hey, what's this? You bring Islamic doctrines to present to us. Please answer. I don't know. Um, okay, no religion is of Ethiopian. Just because you from Ethiopian ancestry doesn't mean religion is Ethiopian origin. Most of it was Persian and Greek, Sumerian, not Ethiopian. Ooh, I could see a lot of battling with inside of the thing. Okay, cheers, man, like Duvud. Duvid, my first time seeing the channel the other day, and since Zubayd invited me and was talking about Muhammad, I thought this was an Islamic channel. Nope, not an Islamic channel. All right, but come true, Duvid. You know, we've got people here for you. Okay, cool. All right. I think I've caught up enough. There's more stuff here. All right, this last one. Metro 9 Thoth 9 says Al Quraysh are Kushites, not red or pale Arabs of the invaders. The name Muhammad is dialect of the ancient Kemetu name Mehet, the waters of the Nile. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Anyways, let me continue. So yeah, the Hanafi, yeah. So we realized that the Hanafi were a group of people that was there during Muhammad's time that taught Muhammad. In fact, Muhammad was said to actually have practiced the Tahanuf. Okay, we're gonna go into the Hanif. Okay, real quickly. Let me just see if I could bring up some information so y'all guys can get up to speed, because it seems as though, like, you know, Muhammad is just in a vacuum and nobody don't know nothing. Okay, cool. There we go. All right. So this is right here. Cool. I love the way I have stuff. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's read. Let me see what I want to read. I want to read from Theodore Abu Qura, Bishop of Haran, 805, says here, the religion of the ancient pagans, Din al-Hunafa al-Awwalin. Another word, yeah, the Christians or Syriacs, we used to call Hanif pagans, okay? Just to put it out there. They claim that they worship the 7 planets, the sun, moon, Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and the 12 zodiac houses, because they are the ones that create and govern this creation and give good fortune and prosperity in the lower world, at dunya, and ill fortune and suffering. They said that their prophet is Hermes the sage, al-Hakim. Okay, so that's one reference, yeah? Okay, second reference from Al-Mubashir ibn Fatih, scholar in Egypt, okay? The lesson of Tat, who is Sab, son of Idris, peace be upon him. The pagans, Al-Hunnafa, are named for him, so they are called the Sabians, okay? Again, Idris, Tat, Sab, Sabians, okay? Tahuti. Hermes is Tahuti, if you don't know. Okay, let's continue. Another one, Tabit ibn Qura, Sinan ibn Tabit. We'll go into detail a bit later. I just want to quickly just read through these things. The law of Hermes and his prayers that the pagan use in prayer. Yeah, okay. The law of Hermes and his prayers that the pagans use in prayer. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Cool. Al-Kindi said that he examined a book which people regarded as authoritative. It is chapters of Hermes on the doctrine of God's unity, which he wrote for his son, most expertly on God's unity. Jeez, Tawheed, you know. Philosophers who have exerted themselves will find no alternative to them and to professing their doctrine. Jeez! This is a Muslim, you know. A Muslim philosopher is saying, you see what they wrote there in that book, yeah, of Hermes, yeah, on the unity of God. Jeez. Listen, there's nothing comparable to it. That is the truth right there. Love it. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna stop there. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. So far, as we can see, yeah, as we can see. Boom. Hey yo, Duvid, come true if you can, right? Because we're gonna open up, and I know that a lot of our audience wanted to speak with you as well. You know, Gabs, I swear I just saw Gabs. Yeah, medicine man, come true. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Ain't that Enoch? You're right. Yeah. Idris is Enoch. So the Arabs, Muslims equate Idris to being Enoch. Okay. The Christians equate Enoch to being Hermes or Thoth, i.e., Jehuti. Okay. All right. Cool. Just so we're all in alignment. So imagine this. Muhammad is being taught by people who ascribe to the teachings of the Hanafiya, i.e. Sabians, i.e. the people that ascribe to Enoch and the people that ascribe to Hermes or the Hermetica. That is the type of wisdom that they're coming with. That's the type of wisdom that they're coming with. Let me just quickly do something. So yeah, if y'all don't know, y'all need to get in touch to something like this. The Hermes right here, Hermetica. And you'll find. Let me just quickly do this because like what's very interesting. Like, let's just see the first chapter in the Hermetica. Yeah, the first chapter in the Hermetica is almost comparable. I'm gonna say to. Actually, do you know what? Do you know what's funny? Before I even do that, actually, no, let me do that. Yeah, I'll go into more of it though. Yeah, no. Here it is. Once when thought came to me of the things that are, and my thinking soared highly, and my bodily senses were restrained. Yeah, and my bodily senses were restrained, like someone heavy with sleep, from too much eating or toil of the body. An enormous being, completely unbounded in size, seemed to appear to me and call my name and say to me, "What do you want to hear and see? What do you want to learn and know from your understanding?" "Who are you?" I asked. "I am Poimandres," which basically means the knowledge of God. He said, "Mind of sovereignty, I know what you want, and I am with you everywhere." I said, "I wish to learn about the things that are, to understand their nature, and to know God." "How much I want to hear," I said. Then he said to me, "Keep me in mind, all that you wish to learn, and I will teach you." Yeah. Anyways, and then he just, it goes on. It's going on. Very interesting, yeah, very interesting stuff. But what's in there, yeah, is this angelic being or this divine being or higher being now comes to him, right? Calls him by his name when he's in a form of sleep, but his mind is racing, and presents himself to him. And you'll find out that this is a divine being that is there to guide him and teach him. Now, if you look at that and then you look at the very first chapter of the Quran, i.e., chapter 96, read in the name of your Lord who created, who taught man by the pen that which he knew not, and so forth, right? You'll find that like it has so much Enochian / Hermetic overtones. So many Enochian and Hermetic overtones, it's unbelievable. Why do I say this? Because if you go into Egypt, and if you go into Egypt, you'll find that even if you go into Egypt, you'll find that the very first person to teach men by the pen is Thoth. If you go into biblical or Judaic literature, you'll find that the scribe in heaven is Enoch, who taught men, who came with the sciences and so forth. Like, it's so profound. It's so very, very profound. But anyways, I digress. So Muhammad is supposedly coming from this tradition. The people around him, okay, his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, is said to be the chief of all of the Hanafi. Yeah. He's the four men that was there that broke away from polytheism. Yeah. His mentors, Waraqa and Zayd ibn Amr, and one of his first companions that went to Ethiopia with the rest of them, Abdullah ibn Jaysh. Yeah. Who else is there again? There's Uthman, who is Khadija's cousin. Like, they're all there. Ethiopian man as well. They're all there practicing this Hanifi religion. All there teaching Muhammad the basics and rudimentary of Hanafiism before Muhammad now comes out and becomes the prophet of Islam. We can go into some details, but I don't want to right now because we have a full panel I'm lying. The panel isn't full, but we've got people on here though still. But yeah, we'll go into some more stuff a little bit later on. Let's just open up so we can get some stuff flowing. Sun Tzu, since you were the first one here, you have any comments or questions?
My question is how Muhammad get the revelations from Jibril?
He didn't get any revelations from Jibril.
So
I said he didn't get it. Okay, that's a good point.
is Muhammad on his mind thinking?
It's a good point, right? The other day we went through this.
I don't go to your site on the other day.
I know.
I want to get your answer from today.
Okay, cool. We're gonna go into that in a hot second. Let me pull it out. So let me do a screen share. Okay, so let's quickly read. Okay. So yeah, we went through this the other day. We spoke on Tabari. This is Tabari Volume 6. If anybody wants to search it up, Tabari has a whole like 39 volumes. I think 40 might be. It could be 40, but 40 isn't really anything major. So there's 39 volumes, right? And on volume 6, the translators forward, it discusses how the attribution of Jibril or Gabriel is a later interpolation into Islam. Earlier in Islam, it was seen as his vision was a divine, he saw a divine being. And then we got told that the divine being was the Namuz. Then later on, after the Hijrah, people or Muhammad now stated that it was Gabriel. Let's see if we can read a bit of it here. It says there is not much of clear historical value in the remaining material about the call of prophethood. The story of the revelation by Gabriel of the first part of Surah 96 cannot be accepted as it stands, since there are strong grounds for holding that it was only after the Hijrah that Muhammad came to think of Gabriel as the agent of revelation. The receiving of passages of the Quran does not seem to have been accompanied by any visual experience, and so it is possible that Muhammad thought that it was his Lord himself who was putting the Quran into his heart. Okay.
Okay, we just listened. Any Muslim here to let us understand
Is there any Muslims that
about
had to come on?
to get the revelations from Jibril? How is it? Is it the practice? What the practice is?
Okay, so basically, Muhammad went into a cave. Okay, had it slept. Yeah, had a drink.
Yeah, I know. We don't go to. I don't want to go to the cave Hira. We go to after they get Mama get the revelation from Jibril. I want to go from there. Sometimes say he, sometimes Allah say it's Allah. Sometimes say we. What is that? I want to get much understanding of from there.
Okay, so you want to speak to Muslims on this?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute you in a minute, but we're gonna invite Muslims to come on
Yeah.
and explain. Basically, you want to know about the plurality and the singularity within inside of the revelations. So sometimes in the revelations it says we gave you this, and then sometimes it says I gave this, and so forth, right?
For what I'm understanding is there's no in the Quran there's no say I. There's a he, we, Allah, this and that. There's
Okay.
no I.
So you want to get into the pronouns? Easy.
Yeah, I want to go for that.
Yeah.
I will go to deep dive.
Hey, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's really a good one. So Muslims, because my brother, may I ask, are you Christian?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Okay, so we can see. Yeah. All right.
I might go for deep dives.
All right. I'm gonna mute you, and then when Muslim comes in, we're gonna jump onto that. Peace. All right, David, my brother, how you doing, King?
Hey, excellent.
Hey, I must say, I'm a bit envious of your book collection.
If you let me, I'll show you some African books. I used to work in New York for years, and I picked up some really good books, mostly off the street. In fact, I was largely turned on to Freemasonry from we'll call African conspiracy theorists that stood on street corners selling books. Some of them had phenomenal collections. I got my first copy of Alfred Pike's Morals and Dogma from French African on the street corner.
Jeez, wow. Hey, that's some knowledge right there. I love it. All right.
What's your angle? Because I apologize the other day, since Zobita invited me and you're reading from I guess an authoritative Islamic work. I had falsely assumed that you were Muslim, and then I saw Zobita was kind of upset, I guess, because she thought what you were saying was heretical to Islam. So what's your angle? You're just asking questions, doing research, or are you some sort of Pan-Africanist who's trying to propose that in reality Islam sources from African traditions?
Nope. We're not dealing with none of that. We're just dealing with straight academia. What is Islam saying? What is Islam saying? What is the text actually saying? What are the scholars saying, and what can we draw from? What conclusions can we come up with?
So you don't have an angle. You just your own research and your own interest into what's behind the phenomenon of Muhammad and Islam.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
All right. Medicine man. I see you. I like that smile. Talk to me, King.
What's happening? Good, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Peace to everyone on the panel. I'm there, man. Just been listening, man. Tuning in.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you've got any questions for the information so far, or any questions to anybody on the panel or anything of that nature. I want to get this show popping.
Yeah, I did have one question. That was from I think it was from the previous show that you did. I think it was the other day. For the brother, what's his name? Brother, is it David? Davud? Yeah, brother Davud. I think it was along the lines of, when you were speaking of Ishmael and his lineage, and was saying about the prophet Muhammad. You said in Genesis you can see that from Ishmael, Ishmael in the book of Genesis basically is the connection we have for Muhammad. That is like the what's the word? The prophecy of Muhammad.
Sorry, how can
Is that what you were saying?
Ismail? Sorry, you are saying that Ismail come to the lineage of Muhammad?
No.
Are you saying this?
No. I'm asking the brother Davud. I think one of the last shows, I think he said that in the story of Genesis, talking about Ishmael and the son and his sons, this is where Prophet Muhammad was prophesied, and he come from the line of Ishmael and his sons. So I just wanted to ask him, where and how does he know that for sure? Because I think we're talking about it now. Prophet Muhammad supposedly,
it's Genesis 17:20. It's a straight verse, Genesis 17:20. You could pull it up if it's interesting.
Yeah, please. If you can pull it up, I don't mind having a look at it. Yeah.
Genesis 17:20, but this is the mainstream biblical interpretation. If you're going to go historical on bloodlines, not all Muslims, Jews, or Christians look at the bloodlines as literal, but the Bible brings down bloodlines for multiple generations, and Ishmael, who is cast away from Abraham's house, his descendants become a character in the Bible throughout Chronicles, for over 1,000 years. Like, for example, the Joseph story, the descendants of Ishmael, Ishmael's descendants are brought up in the Bible many times, and so the verse 17:20 makes this prophecy about 12 princes. So this is at the heart of Islam. If you ever watch like in Iran or like the Seveners or the Twelvers, they open up their speeches with "in the name of the 12th prince," and so just I gave the example when Moses speaks to God at the burning bush, he puts himself in the lineage. When Moses says, "Who should I say sent me?" and God says, say that the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sent you. So Muhammad also is purposeful in the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and not only to say that he's been revealed this wisdom from the same God who revealed the wisdom to Abraham, but that Muhammad is actually a son after son descendant of Abraham through Ishmael. And so, I mean, and even classical biblical chronology, like I mentioned in Shia, the black turbans are descendants of Muhammad, like Khomeini and Nasrallah, and the bloodline is important, that people believe the descendant of the Prophet Muhammad has some sort of special bearing. And it's not just that if the descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, if you're a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, you're a descendant of the Prophet Abraham.
Okay. So just
Okay,
quickly,
David, sorry, David, do you know the name of the father of Abraham?
Yeah, Nimrod.
Sorry?
Yeah, I mean, that's just biblical chronology. I would just make it like the Bible's a living book.
No. I want
So you could look
give
at
me
these
the
stories
straight.
that happened
Give
in
me
the
the
past,
straight
but
name.
these
What's the Abraham name?
Important.
Father of Abraham name.
Yeah, it means Nimrod. It's in the Bible. These are well-known.
Imran is the Moses. I'm asking you,
not
is
Nimrod.
Abraham?
Nimrod's not Abraham's father.
Yes, no. So I want to know what's the name of the father of Abraham.
Terah is Abraham's father. Nimrod was the head of the town.
Sorry?
Terah.
But
He's
how about give me
Nimrod was in charge of the city that Terah that.
Are you a Muslim?
I'm a Jew, but I'm an independent scholar. I'm just interested in forwarding academic conversation to try to get to the bottom, understand this stuff better. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is kind of just like Judaism, Islam 101, that these are living books, and Muhammad isn't just a character. The stories in the Bible aren't just stories, and their descendants live on today, not just the Jews as descendants of Jacob, but the Muslims, and Muhammad is a descendant of Abraham. Even Baha'i, that Baha'i also puts itself in the tradition of Abraham being the descendants of Keturah, that Abraham had other children from Keturah that were sent east, and so the Baha'i today claim to be from those descendants.
Okay, just a quick. So going back to this Genesis 17:20, I just looked at it. It says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and I will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. Okay, so from this, how do we draw the conclusion that the Prophet Muhammad is from this bloodline? How do we make the connection between Prophet Muhammad and the 12 princes? Because it's literally talking about his 12 sons. So Ishmael's 12 sons, he's going to make them great nations. So how is it from this you get that Muhammad is from the bloodline of Ishmael? Where do we next see that Muhammad comes from this lineage? How will we find that?
Well, I mean, it's verified in the Quran and by Jewish scholars and Islamic scholars of the time. So we don't have it's a prophecy that existed, and that's Jews and Muslims.
But where is the prophecy? That's what I'm trying to say. Where can I see the prophecy? Where can you show me that?
Well, I mean, it's on the screen right now. You're talking the Genesis prophecy, to say that Muhammad was the fulfillment of that prophecy.
Muhammad, because what we just read here is talking about the 12 sons of Ishmael. That's fine. The 12 sons will have a mighty nation. But where now, because between Ishmael's sons and Muhammad is a big gap. It's a big gap. So I want to know, how now do we link the Prophet Muhammad to Ishmael and the 12 sons? Where's the prophecy for that?
Well, the prophecy, that's their tradition, that Muhammad and his family had a tradition that they were the descendants of Abraham.
And who said that?
And,
who said that? Who says that? That's what I'm trying to say. Who says
well,
that?
The Quran itself says it.
Okay, so it's just based it off what the Quran. So the Quran says that Muhammad is from the bloodline of Ishmael. Is that what it says?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I'll pull up the verse. But if you're looking for corroborating evidence or Jewish sages that stood up and said, yes, that this does make sense, that Muhammad in Islam is a fulfillment of this prophecy that was in our book. So when you see Islam rising, Islam conquering large parts of the world, that Jews understood that as a fulfillment of a prophecy that all Jews would have been familiar with, because it's right there in Genesis.
Can I say something?
Yeah, but sorry, just one quickly, because just one thing I want to say, because you're saying that Muhammad fits this prophecy, but I'm trying to understand where, because when I read this, it clearly says he's going to make Ishmael a great man, and he's going to beget 12 princes, and he said, I will make him a great nation. Him talking of Ishmael. So he doesn't say anything about it. All he says he's going to have 12 princes, and he said, I will make him a great nation. That is Ishmael. Now, what I'm trying to say is, from the timeline of Ishmael's sons, and Ishmael, the timeline between them and Muhammad is a big jump. So I want to know is, how do we link Muhammad? How do we link this prophecy, or this what God said to Muhammad, when it's clearly talking about Ishmael is the one he's gonna have a great nation, and the only thing is he's gonna have 12 princes? Because I'm trying to see where because it's like, it seems like you're saying that because Muhammad, how many hundreds or thousands of years later, because he now was a mighty man and he ruled and he did certain things, we're now looking back and saying, okay, look, this must go with the prophecy. This goes with Ishmael, but it doesn't allude to that, because all it says is Ishmael, he'll make him a great nation, and he will have 12 princes. I just want to know, where do they make the correlation and the link between that? Because anyone thousands of years later could say, well, because I had a great dynasty and that I can fit the bloodline of Ishmael. But I want to know, how do they do that? How? Like,
I'm not a Muslim. I'm talking about the Jewish tradition. So you have to find Islamic scholars to ask for how the Islamicists view it.
Yeah, I think that'd be best.
The Jewish scholars, in the period of Muhammad,
can you ask
after
anyone your Muslim scholars come to here? Can you bring them here?
I'm not sure if I could, call upon Muslim scholars.
Try, please.
If there's any.
So we let us make it clear for them to have a good conversation. Can you bring them here?
Well, no, I can't.
Brother, he can't. It'd only be Kalam. You have to wait for Kalam to see if anyone comes.
I'm happy to talk to him. I mean, Kalam could do what he wants, but I think you're muted if you're talking.
There you go. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't seem as though any Muslims are trying to come on. It's Ramadan, baby. Yeah, the link has been sent. If any Muslim would like to come on and discuss anything that we're talking about today, please do come on in. Come on in. Quick question though. I just want to know something. Hagar, Ishmael's mother, what country was she from?
Egypt, right?
Cool. Ishmael's wife, what country was she from?
He had a few wives.
Oh, did he?
You could just type on even Wikipedia for a family tree of Ishmael.
Let me do that.
I think Genesis. I think it is a Genesis. I think it's Genesis 20. Genesis 20. I think verse 21 makes mention of Hagar finding a wife for Ishmael.
I mean, the Bible is very careful to bring down the descendants of Ishmael, and even I say that the descendants of Ishmael are traced in the Bible, I think, for over 1,000 years.
Yeah. So if you go to go Kalam, brother, get out Genesis. Yeah, Genesis 20 verse 21.
Okay, give me a second.
David, is the Hagar is the Egyptians?
Yeah.
20.
David?
2021, you said?
Yeah.
There's no 21 on Genesis.
Oh, sorry. 20. Hold on a sec. Hold on a second. Sorry, Genesis 21.
Okay.
Genesis 21. Genesis 21, 21. That's joke. 21, 21.
Okay.
21, 21.
All right. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. Cool.
Yeah, so he may have only had one wife, and he had 12 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And 12 sons and a daughter.
So hold on. I'm curious. I'm just clocking now, yeah. So if Hagar was an Egyptian, Ishmael would have been half Egyptian. He then went forward and married an Egyptian. Therefore, his children would be Egyptian. How does, I don't know, how do Arabs / Muslims / Muhammad claim descent from Egyptians? Or do they claim, I don't know, descent from Egyptians? Because this is kind of new.
We're just talking about Muhammad, and I'm not saying that he was mixed-blooded, and to say that Ishmael's family was prominent all throughout the biblical period as traders and merchants in Israel, the Arabian Peninsula, up till the time of Muhammad, and I believe that this is has independent verification from the Quran that Muhammad and his family were known to be descendants of Ishmael. What exactly that meant, what would it have meant in almost 1,800 years later, if from the time Ishmael lived till Muhammad, what would it have meant for someone to have been a descendant of Ishmael? What type of traditions would they have kept? What would their relationship with Jews have been?
David, are you saying that 600 years after Muhammad come to this, you believe in it?
Well, Abraham was a pretty important character. So if
No. Yeah, I know.
If you were descended from Abraham, your parents probably would not have lost that tradition. And even if you were from, one of the less fortunate characters in the Bible, like Ishmael and Hagar, that if Muhammad and his family were descendants of Ishmael, they kept that tradition, and they probably kept some of the Abrahamic laws and traditions that were known to Abraham. So even close to 2,000 years later, Muhammad and his family were well known to be descendants of Ishmael.
Okay.
Yeah. How about Muhammad? Is Muhammad descendant from?
What that meant before Islam is different. What did it mean to be a descendant of Ishmael before the rise of Islam?
Hold on. We've got somebody here, Mahmoud Ali. Mahmoud Ali, I want to introduce you and welcome you in. Peace to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Haven't heard from you for a long while, Brother Kalam. You seem to have vanished.
Yeah. Sometimes, sometimes you have to just go away and come back and make sure people actually, really want to see you again.
Yeah, because I don't see you at Speaker's Corner anymore either.
Yeah, no. I might come by, like, you know, for
Is
a
this
surprise visit, but otherwise not
is
really.
this speaker corner? Dawa is a liar.
Hmm?
I
No,
don't
Is
quite
this
Without
Uncle
understand that.
Omar? Is this
Islam,
Uncle Omar?
without lies is dies.
okay. Sun Tzu, just keep your mic muted while somebody else is talking, please.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mahmoud.
Yeah. So I've just basically turned on and I've seen this live feed and I thought, okay, I thought this was probably pre-recorded. So when I heard the discussion going on, I thought, okay, well, I'll see what I can add to this conversation. I haven't really fully grasped the issue, whether it's the gap that's the question, or whether it's evidence as to whether Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is from the lineage of Ismail. Is that the issue, or is it the gap from Prophet Abraham to Prophet Muhammad? Is that the issue? I really haven't fully grasped the conversation yet. And if I do participate, I'm not going to be coming in from, because obviously I'm coming in from a Shia perspective. So um, if you're going to bring, Hadith book of Sahih Bukhari, for me, they're not proof for me. So I disregard all of that. We're coming in from a Shia perspective.
Hey, love it. Hey, listen. I think the audience members should be going crazy right now because they've been waiting and they've been asking for some Shia Muslims to come on and present some information. And
I like that.
Okay. So, Gabs, did you want to just, expound on your point you was making?
Yeah, I was going for the brother. Yeah, no, yeah, brother. Basically, just the gap wasn't an issue. More the evidence, more like the evidence, because the brother Davud said, he took us to the verse in Genesis where it talked about Ishmael having a mighty nation, and then also him bearing 12 princes. But from this, I was trying to understand, how did we now get the prophecy? Because he said it's a prophecy from this that we know that Muhammad is from the line of Ishmael. And also what the brother Davud said that was very interesting was, he said that another way we would know if Muhammad was from the line of Ishmael is that he would have carried on the same traditions. Now, that was a big point for me, because I'm just thinking now, like what Brother Kalam just said, he asked, the mother of Ishmael was Hagar. She was an Egyptian slave. We don't know whether she took on the Israelite beliefs or customs. We don't know that, but we know that they both left, obviously, the house of Israel. We don't know what customs and traditions they carried on with. And then also, not only that, she went and found him a wife from Egypt. We don't know whether that was an Israelite woman. That could have been just a normal Egyptian woman. So I just wanted to know, how or where could we find the tradition of Ishmael? What traditions and customs did they keep? Did they continue with the Abrahamic traditions, or did they continue with, I don't know, African Egyptian customs and traditions? Because then, if that so be the case, if they did continue with African customs and traditions, obviously by them being Egyptian, are we now saying that the Prophet Muhammad may have been involved in these Egyptian customs and traditions? Because then that also goes back to what the brother Kalam was talking about the other day, speaking of Enoch. Was it Enoch he was talking about? Who was the Egyptian? No, Jehuti. But what was the name that they gave him, that you gave him in the what was the name that they gave him? Hermes. No, the name you was just literally speaking about it just earlier.
Yeah, so there is
Metatron.
Metatron, and also, Metatron, and also that will link to what you was also talking about, to do with the Hanafiya, because you said they were a sect of Egyptians. Yeah, they took a lot of the Egyptian customs and teachings and merged it in with the Christian teachings. Do you understand? So I'm just trying to, it's kind of curious, it's kind of good because it kind of links. I'm just trying to find the traction, really. Sorry, that was a bit long talking, but yeah, anything along that lines.
but the response is going to be quite detailed and lengthy, because I don't know how far you really want to go back. Because if you go back to Prophet Noah, then the whole humanity from Prophet Noah onwards, if you look at what happened during Prophet Noah's time, is the great flood that wiped out the whole of humanity in that great flood. So if you want to start from that point, or if you want to start from Prophet Abraham, now with Prophet Abraham, now I don't know if the Bible specifically mentions, yes, it does actually. It does resort to, well, it does allude to the sacrifice of Abraham's son. So if you look at that from that, if we use that as a starting point, where Prophet Abraham was ordered to sacrifice his son. He did that. This was a test. This was Abraham's test to sacrifice his most beloved son, which was Ismail. So when Ismail was going to be sacrificed, but obviously God replaced his sacrifice with a lamb or whatever it was, whichever animal it was, whether it was a sheep or a lamb. So instead, and God told Abraham that you've passed the test, and that we are now giving you imamat, meaning we are making you now an imam. So he was already a prophet, but now he's gone one stage higher to the level of an imam. That imam means he is the leader of the whole community and the whole world. So that was the title that he was given. And if you read the story of Hazrat Ibrahim in the Quran, it basically gives you the story and the build-up of what happened with Ismail. Then Prophet Abraham asked Allah, that would this imamat run through my lineage? Will it carry on through my family? So Allah told him that, and you can read the verses in the Quran where it says that it will go through your lineage, prophethood and imamat will continue through your line. And it was through the line of Ismail. Now there's a gap. Now then what happened was, Ibrahim then traveled to Saudi Arabia and rebuilt the Kaaba. He basically completed it. And from that point onwards, that's where the lineage basically starts from, because otherwise the question would have to be asked is, why did Abraham travel to Saudi Arabia? Not obviously Saudi Arabia, as we modernly know, but as the Hijaz. That's what it's originally turned as. Why did he go and travel to Arabia? It was preparation for the lineage of Ismail to continue, and through Prophet Muhammad coming through Ismail, because that's why they traveled to Arabia.
Okay. Can I just ask you a question, just quick, so that I know?
Yeah.
Okay. From the biblical standpoint of an Old Testament, God, and I think Brother Dawood could probably you can clarify anything if I'm making mistakes. From the Bible point of view, between the two sons, Isaac and Ishmael, God said that the line of prophets would go through Isaac, and for Ishmael, what he would do is make him a mighty nation, and he will bear 12 sons. Do you agree? Do you agree with what the Old Testament saying? Because it doesn't make mention. It doesn't make mention, or from what I know, from what I've seen or read, it doesn't make mention that God said there will be another prophetic line through Ishmael.
Well, that's not the Jewish understanding. I mean, the verse.
Okay.
No, because if you look at Isaac, now the two sons, Ismail and Isaac, the Jews, the Jewish community held on to Isaac. They didn't take on Ismail. They didn't follow the lineage, the continuation of Ismail. They stuck to Isaac, which is predominantly the Jewish and the Christian point is that they hold on to Isaac. They don't follow. And if you look at Isaac, no prophets have come through the line of Isaac. None at all. Isaac was the last prophet after Abraham's son, and when he had Isaac, no prophets came after through Isaac, only through Ismail, which is the last prophet, which is Prophet Muhammad. And the 12 princes that is referred to in the Bible, it's basically another word for Imam, 12 leaders.
Yeah, I mean, there's some discrepancy between the Islamic and the Judaic account, and obviously Jacob was Isaac's son, and King David and Solomon, and Jeremiah, all those later prophets of the Hebrew Bible are descended from Jacob through Isaac. I'm talking specifically the story brought down in the Mosaic account that Abraham's promise is going to be carried out through his son Isaac, not in the biblical account that there's problems between Isaac and Ishmael, and Sarah is worried about the way that Ishmael is kind of roughhousing, and even though she had been the one who encouraged Abraham to take Hagar as a wife because she wasn't able to conceive, she tells Abraham to cast Hagar and her son out of the house, which Abraham doesn't want to do. And then in the Hebrew Bible, God tells Abraham to listen to his wife, and he cast Hagar and Ishmael out, and Hagar is crying out to God. And actually, the word Yishmael in Hebrew means listen to my voice. That God listened to the voice, the prayer of Hagar, and God listened to Hagar praying to God and said, "Don't worry, Hagar. Your son Ishmael will be the father of 12 princes." And the Bible records that Ishmael has 12 sons, but that's understood to be prophetic about future times, that 12 great leaders will arise from the bloodline of Ishmael. And that's the Judaic understanding. Like the Islamic might have a different, I'm happy for Muhammad to fill in on that, but the Judaic understanding of the chronology is that because Abraham wanted to focus on Isaac and what would eventually become the Jewish people, he cast out Hagar and Ishmael, and then God, as a consolation to Hagar, said that 12 great leaders, princes, would arise from that bloodline, and the Bible carries on the bloodline. And just to mention the historical, how do we know, so to say, Muhammad is a descendant from Ishmael? That goes back at least 400 years. Ibn Fakir, who founded, I guess, the Quraysh tribe and the Hashim tribe that were in Saudi Arabia at the time, were known to be an Ishmaelite tribe, and the founder of the tribe that dominated Mecca going back 400 years has independent corroboration that they were Ishmaelites. So the Jews in the area, or you say the general, Abraham had a big effect on the world. So the Jews aren't the only people that were talking about the legends of Abraham. There are also native Arabs and Egyptians and others that talked about and the descendants, so to say, the descendants from Hagar and other bloodlines. Abraham was the father of multiple nations. In fact, Jews don't consider Abraham a Jew. Jacob is the first Jew. Abraham is just the father, the grandfather of Jacob, who is the first Jew. But the fact that Muhammad was a descendant of Ishmael is a known legend going back at least 400 years before Ishmael. And the heads of Mecca for hundreds of years known to be Ishmaelites.
That's right. And some of the Jewish communities actually knew the true meaning of, not all, but some Jews did actually understand some of the texts in the Old Testament, which is why they migrated to Hijaz, which is Saudi Arabia. Well, let's just use the term for argument's sake, Saudi Arabia. Many Jews actually migrated towards the Middle East because they knew what this prophecy meant, and that there was going to be a prophet coming from Saudi Arabia, the Hijaz, from Arabia. And so that's why they migrated, awaiting for this prophecy to come alight.
Sorry,
That's why there was a Jewish community in Arabia.
Just
Yeah, the
quickly,
Jews
because
serve to
I'm not,
vindicate this understanding that saying the Jews, we always recorded till today, we record, so to say,
Can I join?
our non-Jews to say, oh, he isn't just a non-Jew, he's from this bloodline, and that it was indicative. So we always till today, just like I said, Khomeini and Nasrallah, or if you're Shia Muslim, most of the leaders of Shia Islam are descendants of Ishmael. And so from a Judaic understanding, it makes sense to us that our political opposition or friends or foes are factually from the bloodline of Abraham. So if you have a character like Nasrallah or Khomeini, to say yes, they are descendants of Ishmael, and they do carry on in some respect the traditions of Abraham, and even the disputes between Jews and Arabs. Saying these are ancient disputes, but there's also similarities, the Abrahamic law, that Jews and Muslims both follow Abrahamic law.
Brother
Well, one of
Dawood,
the
just
reasons
quickly.
why,
Sorry, hello,
yeah,
just quickly, because we're getting a bit far. So, brother Dawood, from the Judaic point of view, does it make mention that there will be a prophetic line coming from Ishmael from the Old Testament? Does it
No, we
make
don't
mention of
understand
that?
them as, we don't understand it to be prophets. I mean, maybe there were some Jews who had a tradition, but the verse uses the word for princes, and we understand that to be great leader. So prophecy, like no mainstream Jew considers Muhammad or the leaders today in a prophetic line, but we do consider them God ordained leaders in a fulfillment of the prophecy. That it's not surprising to us that so to say, the great leaders of the Middle Eastern nations today are descended from Ishmael. But no,
Okay.
we wouldn't consider them prophets.
Okay, so because that's what I wanted. That's what I was basically trying to
That's a
draw the
dispute
line
between
with the
Muslims
brother.
and Jews. So I'm saying we consider them God ordained leaders, but not prophets. But Muslims would consider them prophets.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I wanted to know, because obviously the brother made mention, brother Mahmoud Ali said that there was no prophets that came out after Isaac. And obviously we know, like you said, we know that not to be true, because we have Joseph, we have Jacob, and the prophets that follow after that, even Moses. I think Moses
Everyone's
came
descended
from,
from Jacob
yeah,
through Isaac,
everyone's descended through
but there's
Jacob.
dispute about the chronology. So if you're a Jew or even a Christian, you accept the Hebrew canon as accurate. Muslims dispute and say that the Hebrew Bible is biased and not an accurate historical account, and then the Quran comes to give their so to say corrected version of the history. And that's why I say Abraham's reputation was well known. And so say the Jews, we think that we're Abraham's select children, and that's a dispute between Muslims and Jews that you like mentioned on who the bloodline properly goes through. And obviously Ishmael was the oldest son, that Isaac is the younger son. And for Jews to say that so to say the promises that God made to Abraham would be fulfilled through his younger son is disputed by Muslims.
Okay. I was going to say to what one of the brothers.
Something?
Oh yeah, go on, brother. Yep.
Mahmoud Ali, what in the Quran, what's the father name of Abraham?
I said Terah. Yeah. I assume he agrees. Terah is the father of Abraham. I mean, Terah was an idol worshiper. He made idols.
No. That I'm asking the Ali. Mahmoud Ali.
I assume he's going to agree with
in
that.
The Quran.
What's
the Quran.
The father's name of Abraham?
Yes.
Was that your question?
Yes. Answer. Waiting for your answers.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's Terah, and there's no dispute with the Jewish account that Muslims agree that Terah is the father of
Ali,
Abraham.
I want to have your answer. In the Quran, what's the Abraham father names?
Right. Right. Now, with regards to Abraham's father, the Quran basically Sorry.
What's the father?
Yeah.
What's the name of the father of
Yeah.
Abraham?
Well, basically,
Simple questions. Don't this and that, please.
right. Is the question who is right? The Quran. Right. Regarding Abraham's father, I can give you the when Abraham refers to his father in the Quran, that's not his father. That's his uncle.
You are stupidity. I tell you that.
I don't know that.
Huh? I'm
I don't know
asking
the
you.
actual
I'm
Abraham's
asking.
father's name.
What's the Quran
But
say
in the
about the father
Quran,
of the
Abraham
Abraham?
refers to his father, but
In
that's
the
not his father.
Quran,
That's his
in
uncle.
the
He looked at him
Quran,
as a father
you-
figure because his uncle was an idol worshipper.
Kalam, I think your mic's muted.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's general disputes between Jews and Muslims about the accuracy of the Bible. I mean, the Bible clearly says Terah is Abraham's father, and I think Nahor is grandfather. You know, all the way.
I know that, Dawood. I know that. I know that. I want to get the answer from their teachings.
So he's saying it doesn't
In
say. He's
the-
saying the Quran doesn't say. It says that I guess he's saying that Terah, who the Jews say is Abraham's father.
No. You are wrong. You don't understand. I tell you that. In Quran, they say Ezra is the father of Abraham.
Okay.
Kalam can correct you. Even Kalam can correct you.
All right. But let me just say this: like, let's make sure we keep it friendly. You know, we keep it friendly. Let's not attack each other. Let me see, because I see.
I'm going to go for deep thing. We go for deep drive.
Oh,
There's a holes in Islamic. What? Yes, can you say?
All right.
You don't have to make it gotcha trivia. If you have information to bring it, but it doesn't have to be gotcha trivia.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so family, I'm seeing that you guys are talking about you don't want more Ethiopian. Where's the Ethiopian stuff? Where's the Ethiopian stuff? Listen, family. We could go into the Ethiopian stuff, but let's just, we got a nice panel. Like, if you really want it, I could bring the information, but we've got a nice little panel going on here. I would like to ask, actually, the good brother David, talk to us about Metatron. Are you familiar with Metatron?
I mean, I guess I'm not an expert, but yeah, Metatron's brought down in Kabbalistic literature, mentioned in the Talmud as one of God's angels. And I mean, although that's already a touchy subject of how to understand angels, but the scripture clearly mentions angels. And as we talked last time, like Gabriel, that Gabriel is known to be the angel that dealt with Abraham. So that it would make sense that Ishmael, I mean, that Muhammad would have received the Quran from the same angel that spoke to or had dealings with Abraham.
Dawood, if Muhammad received revelation from the same Gabriel, the cuisine. Tell me of the cuisine in the cave Hira. Tell me. Dawood, do you understand?
So I think
about your books.
The brother is asking, if you're familiar with, is there anywhere within inside of Jewish literature that Gabriel squeezes or does anything that indicates violence towards the prophet? Before
Gabriel is known to be an angel of God's attribute of justice. So if you related that to violence and that when God sends angels for certain purposes,
I got it, Dawood. I got it. But justice. by squeezing to read, some say recite. Do you learn? Do you go through the Islamic text?
I've read the Quran. I have 4 different
You learn
translations.
Quran.
I'm not an Islamic scholar. I'm a Jew. Like I'm well read. I've studied. I have a lot of books. I have over
I
50
also
books.
know. I also don't know Quranic.
I'll
I
call myself
also
a
don't
Jewish
know
scholar.
Arabic, but I learn.
Hold on, Sanzu. Just keep your mic muted for a little while, okay? So, is there anywhere where inside of Jewish literature that Gabriel becomes physical with any of the prophets?
Yeah, I believe Gabriel's the angel that stops Abraham from sacrificing Isaac.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you mean physical of how that would be understood.
Okay, no problem. And also, I wanted to touch back up because I know the people must probably want to have more information on Metatron. So you said that it's one of God's angels. Is there anything specific about Metatron? Do you ascribe to, or do you accept the books of Enoch as being part of Jewish literature?
I have the book of Enoch, I believe, was actually written in Hebrew, and it's not considered canonical. So the Kabbalists accept that the book of Enoch was likely attributed to Enoch, but it's not. It's not canonical. It's not considered of the prophets, and it deals with things like the division of the seasons, astrology, and some sort of wisdoms. And like if you take Freemasonry, like Enoch was the first developer of cities and some sort of material wisdom. So in that sense, it's not considered prophecy. It's nowhere. It's not canonical, but it is considered a holy book. That the Kabbalists read it, and so also, so Enoch wasn't a Jew. That Enoch was like Noah. Enoch and Noah and also Abraham were prophets to all the nations, as opposed to the later Hebrew prophets had a specific message largely just for the Jewish people. Enoch's prophecies are generic, and even to call them prophecies is probably inaccurate, but they're wisdom that was given from Enoch to all of humanity and is still in existence till today.
Okay. Are you aware with Metatron or Enoch Metatron being the Yahweh that was responsible, the angel that had the name of Yahweh that was responsible for giving Moses the tablets?
I've heard that mentioned, and Gabriel is actually mentioned explicitly in the Hebrew scripture. Metrodon is not actually mentioned in the Hebrew scripture, specifically Moses. So there is later writing, and obviously it mentions that I believe Enoch is one of the 7 people that didn't die, that called the divine kiss, that the Bible says Enoch was taken by God without death. And if that meaning that he turned into an angel or was always an angel. So the later mystics have interpretations on it, but it's at a lower level. If there's like a Talmudic or Kabbalistic text, or even the book of Enoch itself is not considered authoritative like one of the canonical prophets.
Okay, cool. All right, Medicine Man, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just a quick question on that last point you just made. So just Dawood, if Enoch, like the Bible like you said, makes mention of that he was taken up by God, I'm trying to understand how is it that and he had this wisdom. I want to know. I don't know if you know, or you could probably share where he got this wisdom from. Was it from God, or where he got this wisdom
the founder
that
of
he
cities.
taught to
If
mankind?
you take the biblical account that there was Adam and there was descendants, and Enoch was the founder of cities, and so basic wisdom, like we know astrology, the division of 4 seasons, various things that say he was the first person to ever share that wisdom with the world, and that's not specific to the Jewish people. That's generic wisdom for all people as the founding of cities.
What do you mean that
Okay, hold on,
come
hold on,
from a biblical
brother.
account?
Oh my God. Brother, hold on
Okay,
a second,
sorry.
brother.
brother.
Hold on, sorry, brother, hold on. Just quickly, because the reason why I'm making mention of this, because you just said he was one of the 7 that was literally taken up by God. Yeah. And there's even some prophets in the Hebrew line that haven't been taken up by God like that. Only a few of them. So I want to know if he was able to get this honor of being taken up by God. Obviously, God must have had some high regard for him. So I just want to wonder why is it that his books and his teachings and the things that he was given, why is that not seen as part of the canons, or why does it seem to be distant, like, oh, he was just a man that was just, or someone who was just giving out wisdom and stuff, but yet he was able to get picked up and taken up by God, where there was prophets, like, prophets that came way after him, that didn't get taken up like that.
Well, you have to understand, what does prophecy mean? What do Jews and Hebrews understand prophets to mean in terms of the giving of law and predictions about the future that we believe are guaranteed to happen. So like Moses as a lawgiver that says, do this, don't do that, as a level of prophecy, that's the highest, according to Jews. Moses is the highest of all prophets, to the prophets that accurately described God and events that are going to happen in the future. So Enoch, according to the Jewish understanding, does not prophesies about future events that are going to happen, and does not give law for humanity. Enoch gives wisdom, like how to build cities, how to understand the stars and the seasons. So you're digging into, what does the word prophet mean? So even if Enoch had some special relation with God and was able to give humanity this great wisdom that we all use today, that's not what Jews consider prophecy in the terms of giving God-given law or predictions about what's going to happen in the future.
Okay, the reason why I want to understand that a bit more, because I'm just trying to, I'm just using my mind and how I see things. Now, Moses, I don't know if he was taken up. I don't think he was taken up by God like that. I don't know if it makes mention. Was he taken up by God?
That has nothing to do with prophecy. Just because
no, that's fine.
Was such a great man that he didn't have to go through the death process doesn't make him a prophet.
Brother, I know. I'm just asking the question. So we know Moses wasn't taken up, but you said he's seen as one of the top prophets because he was given law. Now, parts of the law that Moses was given, I'm sure in those laws, it spoke about things that the Hebrews have to follow, whether that would be certain customs and traditions, things on maybe astrology, certain symbols. Don't look at these type of astrologers. Don't follow these people's ways and that type of ways. So I want to know the information that Enoch was presenting. Like you said, he was talking about traditions and ways to build cities, and talking about the seasons, learning about the sky, astrology, and all these things. Yeah, all those things that he was teaching. Was that also the same thing that Moses was speaking of, or was that different?
No. Moses's messages is specific to the Jewish people. Enoch's message, like Noah's message, is universal to all of humanity. So to a certain extent, there's nothing for the Gentiles within Moses. You could recognize Moses as the great man he was, but his message was largely exclusively for the Jewish people. And Enoch, there's nothing specific to the Jewish people, just like in Noah. It's a generic wisdom and directives for all of humanity.
Okay, so so let me get this straight. So the knowledge that Enoch gave was for everyone, including the Jews, but the message that Moses gave was directly just for the Jews. But what I want to know is the message that Enoch gave on astrology, because not all nations were dealing with the same type of astrology. They might have done it in their own different type of way. I want to know is the knowledge that Enoch gave, on astrology and stuff, would that have been different to the message that Moses gave on astrology, or anything to do with that type?
Well, it could be Moses didn't even mention astrology, and that that there's no difference. Astrology there's no difference in astrology to a Gentile and a Jew. I mean, generally, even you say that Jews are not bound by astrology, that if you're a Jew and follow the law, that the forces of astrology can be overcome. But I say no, that there's generic things like how the sky and the spiritual forces, astrology, building cities, universal human law that is the same to Jews and Gentiles alike. Like Noah and the Noahide laws are the same to Jew and Gentile alike. And Moses is just giving more and above the special mission to the Jewish people. And
This
so
is
there's no
interesting.
contradiction. Moses isn't coming. There's no
okay.
contradiction between Moses and Enoch. Moses is just coming to add a special message specific to the Jewish people.
Okay, cool. This is good now. We're getting somewhere because now this was bring me to my next point, because now we know that Moses was raised in Egypt, right? And we know that the Egyptians were definitely heavy involved in the information to do with astrology. We know that was heavily present there. Yeah. Now we know that obviously Moses was told obviously to take the Israelites and his brothers and sisters and leave. Wasn't so part of the laws or the messages or the message that God gave to Moses, wasn't that for him to not go and do the things of the Egyptians? Didn't they have to break away from those old traditions and the old knowledge that they had in Egypt? Yeah, big.
Want to break away? I mean, if they were doing things like idol worship that would say were universally unrecommended, so like Noah, Enoch were commanded again, knew the prohibition of idol worship, and if the Egyptians were doing that, that wasn't. You didn't need Moses to be told that. All descendants of Noah should have known that. But adding specific things for Jews, like as a Jew, you have to be more careful, and things that are allowed to Gentiles, to normal Egyptians, that may not be bad for an Egyptian to do, me as a Jew can't do, and that could include dietary law and various things. So I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to get
so
at.
Basically, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to in a nutshell, I'm just basically trying to ask you.
We believe in the chronology of Noah and Adam, and it's not like God had never revealed wisdom to humanity till Moses. That God had revealed important things to humanity, starting with Enoch, and like just fundamental things like how you build a city, how you understand the sky, maybe basic elements of the soul and important matters, and those were well known, and maybe they were forgotten, and so I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to get at.
I'm basically trying to say is, after when Moses broke the Israelites left, and Moses got given the laws, and the ways, the customs that they were supposed to follow, could a Hebrew or Israelite still continue any of the teachings or any of the knowledge that they got prior to the law that they learned from Egypt? So any of the Egyptian stuff based on astrology, because you said that the wisdom on astrology and stuff has come from Enoch, and Enoch is the one that spread this throughout the world or the rest of mankind, and it was basic information that people knew about astrology. And I said that Egyptians were heavily into the astrology and dealing with the skies and stuff. And obviously, if we go by what Kalam was talking about, Enoch, they say that Enoch may have been one of the teachers or may have a connection to ancient Egypt. So all I'm trying to say is, were the Israelites allowed to continue using the information and the teachings of the Egyptian? Was that seen as, could they still do that? Could they still have those practices?
Yeah, I mean, as long as it didn't contradict or wasn't forbidden, like idol worship. In fact, many of the Kabbalists interpret the verse, where they say that the Israelites took the treasures of Egypt, that straight meant the gold or the valuables, but it meant the secret teachings. And so the Kabbalah, they say, that was known in Egypt, and the secret teachings, the secret treasures that the Israelites, so to say, stole from Egypt when we left, doesn't just refer to gold; it refers to the Kabbalistic wisdom, and that was likely the Enochian wisdom. And so the Book of Enoch was, we have Hebrew copies of it. Like I think it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi, And so say this Kabbalistic wisdom, which is somewhat this universal spiritual wisdom of how the spiritual is manifested in the material, is not specific to Judaism. It's factual. If you're a believer, there's a fact, there's a spiritual realm, there's a soul, there's a way that God works in nature, and there's an understanding of that. And certain great people like Enoch, how, if you want to call it prophecy or wisdom or however it was, knew that wisdom, and that was available to possibly a person that wasn't part of a mystery school, that just meditated and thought really hard and prayed, could have came onto it on their own, or maybe they were part of some sort of mystery school where there was a direct tradition of people who studied under this person, who studied under this person, and would be revealed these so to say, secrets. But at the same time, they're not really secrets. It's like science, that we might not have known the law of gravity or acceleration, but they were factually what was behind the material realm. So also, if you believe like what Enoch lays out in his book in the Wisdom of the World, that's factual description of how the spirit is manifested in the material.
Big. Listen, this is a big show. I'm loving it so far. Family, if you're loving the show as well, listen, put your money where your mouth is and hit up the like button and show that good love. Okay, tell a friend.
We call it Freemasonry today.
Hey.
You say like that you say, was it maybe Freemasonry was the hidden secret of Enoch? It was Enoch the first Freemason, and whatever you consider this secret wisdom, you say, well, you might go to a lodge or someplace and tell you something, but most mystery schools don't claim that they have some prophet who has new wisdom. Most mystery schools claim that they're in a tradition of wisdom that was at least always known by a select few.
Jeez, I do with it. I just want to let you know you're getting love from our audience members. They're feeding your information so far. So family, listen, I've got like 10 minutes left on here, right? I'm trying to keep the show to under 2 hours if we can. We've got a person by the name of Sage. Peace, bro. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, can you hear me, Kala?
Yeah. Cheers! Yeah. Hey! Come on! Hey, medicine man, Gabs, you're gonna get gas right about now. You're gonna get gas.
Yeah.
What's going on, Gabs?
What are you saying, brother? You good? Yeah.
Yeah. You're good. I'm just listening to the conversation still.
There you go, sir. There you go.
I had a quick question for my friend there. What's his name? David. Have you got Moses Me and My Daddy's book, Guide to the Perplexed?
I have that book. I was showing Holly Sasa that his life 2 volumes of his writing. Yeah, I don't actually have a copy of Guide to Perplexed, but I've read it.
What do you think of them?
Of that specific book, The Guide to Perplexed, or Maimonides in general?
Well, both.
Well, I mean, The Guide to Perplexed is a rationalist explanation of, so to say, Jewish superstition, including things like angels and mystical experiences, where Maimonides tries to rationalize all of it with the current scientific understanding of the age. So he talks about, questions like angels and spiritual forces that, more superstitious Jews might have taken a less rationalistic approach. And great. And, so it has hundreds of chapters, and they're kind of set up to you answer questions that would Judaism is not some superstitious religion that believes in a bunch of supernatural nonsense, that all of these superstitions are part of a greater rational philosophical approach that could be understood.
Okay. In the book, Me and Maimonides alluded that the creation story that we have, the 6 days, and God rested on the 7th day, had a mystical meaning. He also said that God doesn't speak and has no human emotions. But a lot of the time I hear you speak, it's almost like you're saying God speaks. Does he?
The language in the Talmud is the the Bible speaks in the language of man. So when you
Right.
try to understand the Bible, it uses our language, not God's language. So if you're talking like algebra, symbolic language, or something like that, like, no, I mean, the Bible speaks to us in our own language. So so that's kind of what Maimonides comes to explain. So all of these things like anthropomorphism.
Well, it does, doesn't it? But at the same time, there's passages in the Bible and in the Tanakh where God is actually speaking and interacting with human beings. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, the expression, Vaidaber Hashem el Moshe Lamor, and God spoke to Moses and said, that's, like one of the single most common verse in all of the Torah. And God spoke to Moses and said to say to the people of Israel. And, so the Kabbalist or like Maimonides will say, what does it mean? And God spoke to Moses. And what does it mean that God speaks? And it say the Talmud already lays out this principle that it uses our language. So you can't have some sort of the Bible's for us, not for God. And so how that actually worked, what was the nature of prophecy, how God communicated with Moses, we could draw inference from it, but just say that the Bible's for our purpose and uses our language.
Yeah, I understand that. But the point I'm making is that when Moses received the books or the Torah or the laws, God gave him those laws, correct?
That's what it says. That's our understanding. Yeah.
Okay, so God actually came down on a mountain and gave Moses those laws. Is that correct?
That's not how we understand it. It's saying that God, is this impersonal force that exists. Saying the word Jehovah is a play on the verb to be, hoya hoya v'hoiva, which is the word to be, and is in essence all permutations that was, that is, that will be at once. So to say that the God that existed before the material world, the God that sustains the material world, the God that will exist after the material world is no longer in existence, spoke to Moses, gave Moses the law, is somewhat beyond our understanding of how these.
Who spoke to Moses?
Well, we believe the creator, the story, Moses's book starts with the creation of the whole universe. It establishes the God that spoke to Moses, took the Israelites out of Egypt, is the God that created the whole world.
You're missing the point. I understand the Bible and the Torah. That's not really what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, did God came down and give Moses those laws?
Well, if you're asking a sloppy question, because God,
you're saying in the Bible God does all these things, but at the same time you're giving him human characteristics. So I'm asking you, does he speak? Does he have feelings? Does he have emotions? Does he write? That's the questions I'm asking you.
No, I'm saying that we have, and God, I mean, it's tough to answer these questions without saying something heretical and to say we don't really understand how this worked. I'm not a prophet. I'm not Moses. Moses was known to be the greatest of all prophets. Moses says Moses asked God to see if he could see God's face, and Moses says God tells Moses no man could see me and live.
Later on, in verse 33, God spoke to Moses like a man spoke to his friend. This is the confusion. So if you don't know how these things work, why should I take what you're saying for law? If you yourself don't know, you just inferred, you don't know.
Well, I'm just a follower of Moses. Don't take what I say, take what Moses said.
I don't have to take what Moses said because you yourself don't know who gave Moses those laws.
I believe it's the God who created the whole universe, our mutual Father in heaven.
You can believe, and I'm not going to take nothing away from you believing, but it's not knowing, is it? It's not knowing.
Well, how am I going to know how God spoke to Moses?
That's the question. How do you know? You're making the deity absurd because you're giving him human characteristics. That's why you're so confused. You can't know because God is unknowable. He has no human characteristics, nor does he speak or write. That's why I asked you if you read the book, The Guide to the Perplexed.
Yeah, I mean, my mind specifically addresses this.
Perplexing. Your conversation is perplexing. You're talking about spiritual realms. I asked you a basic question. Did God come down on a mountain, give Moses those laws, and say, blah, blah? Does he speak? Does he have human characteristics? Yes or no?
Your question has false assumptions about the nature of God. God does not need to come down. God is at the heart of the material realm. God is the sustainer of the material realm. God does not come from some distant place. God is everywhere at all times and all places.
I'm only saying what the Torah says. This is not me. God came down and gave Moses some laws. This is what your book says.
Yeah, and there's deep meaning that we could learn from.
So I'm asking you, what is the deep meaning? What is the meaning of that?
Of the specific language of God coming down?
What is the meaning of God coming down? Because you're saying God he's not immutable, is he? Is he immutable or does he move? Is God subjected to change?
Well, I say no, that God is perfect, God is immutable, God is not subject to change.
He cannot come down then, can he? He cannot come down and give someone a law, because if he does, he's subjected to change, correct?
You could say, as a philosophical, logical paradox, that, yeah, if God comes down, that would be some sort of contradiction to God being immutable. So the philosophers would like Maimonides in the Guide to Perplex, would try to explain what does it mean God came down without being a contradiction to these philosophical understandings, like God being perfect, immutable, all knowing in various things, and the lessons it has for us in humanity.
That's correct. So all of these things that Maimonides was discussing, and before Maimonides discussed that was discussed before. The point I'm making is, because there's a part of your history that is unknowable, I don't really have to take what you're saying for facts. But you're speaking as though what you're saying is factual, but they're not. That's my point.
I don't think I spoke about these unknowable things. I just told you they're unknowable. I could tell you what some of this, and if I said I know something about it, it's not because I said I know, it's because I quoted our historical sages that spoke on the topic. So, I mean, you don't have to take anything I say as fact, and if I say something that's worthwhile, it's because I'm accurately quoting authoritative sources.
Right, because when you and the Muslim guy were speaking, and like Gab said, you were speaking the other night as well on it, you're speaking as though these things are true. You mentioned Hagar earlier, and you said Hagar calls on God's name. What name did she call? Was it not El Roi? Is that Jehovah? Is that a name for Jehovah? El Roi, is that a name for Jehovah?
I have to look at the verse if you really want to see. I don't know what point you're trying to make. I mean, if you're trying to disprove the Hebrew religion, you're trying to demonstrate that I'm a fool and no one should listen to me.
Why are you going there? I'm only quoting what you were saying. This is not about disputing any religion. I'm only talking about the things that you were just talking about. You and the Muslim guy were talking about Hagar. Now, because I question you, you're saying I'm trying to disprove your religion.
Well, I'm just trying. What you're lying? I mean, you're just trying to dispute me. You're trying to. All the people listening should know that David's a fool and not and shouldn't be listened to.
What name did Hagar call on? What name?
I'm looking right now for the verse to see what name Hagar calls to God in Genesis. So if you want to say something, well, I look that up, but I don't have that off memory. I have to look it up.
No, I'm waiting for you to look it up.
Well, I mean, don't leave dead time. So if you want to say something, you say something, because I don't have this memory.
I don't want to say anything.
I have to look it up.
My friend, I just want to say what you were saying. You were speaking confidently about where these tribes come from and who was who. You were speaking confidently about that.
Yeah, I'm confident about that.
Right. Now I'm asking you which God she was calling on. You're having a problem.
I mean, she's calling to the God of Abraham.
She called on El Roy. She called on El Roy. She didn't call Jehovah, did she? She was Egyptian. Why would she?
Maybe if you're referring to Genesis 21:17.
I'm only referring to what you was referring to, my friend.
I mean, it could be. I said that Hagar cried out to God, and God answered her prayer.
Right. What does it say in Hebrew? Does it say
I have to look
Jehovah?
it up. If you tell me the verse, you'll save me time. If you know the verse and you're wasting time playing gotcha trivia, that's all you're doing, wasting time.
Okay, I won't waste no more of your time.
And so if you know the verse, say the verse. If you, otherwise, you're like, I'll have to look it up. It's going to take me time. If you know the verse, just tell me and save me the time. I'm not claiming to have the whole Bible memorized.
I'll try to find the verse. Let me see if I can find it.
If you're referring to 21:7, Malach Elohim, that God sends. I mean, angel of God referring to Elohim speaks to Hagar. To look at the earlier verse to what Hagar.
Is that what is that Genesis? Yeah. David, is that in Genesis?
Yeah, I think it's Genesis 21:16.
21:16. Oh yeah, I myself.
I'm not sure it says a name. It just says she sat and wept. So I'm looking at the 21:16. I'm looking at the Hebrew, and she in 21:16, and she went and sat down.
Okay.
And
yeah, Sage. Which bit are you talking about? Are you talking about when Hagar first interacts with it says God or anything? Is that which part are you talking about?
Hold on a bit, Gabs. I'm going to look it up there. It's the part where.
Is it 21:16?
It's like
Genesis 16, I believe.
16:13. Read 16:13. Genesis.
Oh, Genesis 16:13. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have Genesis 16:13. Here it says Yahweh, and she called the name Yahweh, who spoke to her. That according to 16:13, that Hagar called directly the name of Jehovah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I don't know whose screen I'm looking at.
There it is. El Rai.
Okay, yeah, I can see your screen now. Could you see it, David?
Yeah.
Who is that?
El Rai, as you see the words on the screen, mean El means master, and Ra'oi is the verb to see, who sees me. So this is the God who sees me. So it's not, I don't think it's referring to an angel. That Hagar is, I mean, the verse starts out, V'tikra Shem Hashem, Hadover Elav Ata El Ra'ai. And she called the name of Jehovah, who spoke to her, you are the God who sees me. So El Ra'ai is not a name of an angel. It's not, I mean, you could call it an appellation of God, but it refers to the God who sees, who felt her pain, who saw her.
Have you done speaking?
El Ra'ai is not, I don't, if I'm wrong in my mind, he's the guide to perplex, has a different understanding, but it just means the God who sees me. But the beginning of the verse 16:13, she calls the name of Jehovah. She calls the name of Jehovah.
David, listen to the question. Is that Jehovah? That's the question I asked you.
Yeah, Jehovah is the God who sees her.
Right. So what?
So she calls Jehovah, and then it refers to the God Jehovah as, instead of the formal appellation Jehovah, the God who is, will be, always is, as the God who sees me. And so that's like a classification. Like when I pray to the all-powerful God, it's a more personal appellation that I say, this is the God who sees me. But it's not an angel like Metatron or Gabriel. It's
it's
referring to a quality of God, and the quality of God is the master who sees us.
I didn't ask you if it was an angel. That's not what I asked you. I'm asking
you. Said you. I thought you were claiming that it's some sort of Egyptian god. El-Ra is some sort of Egyptian god.
You carry on speaking, my friend, because I can't get a word.
Oh, go ahead. Go. Well, you're not saying anything. I mean, I had responded because it seemed like he had claimed that El-Ra is some sort of name of an Egyptian god, and I would say that that's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that El-Ra are just Hebrew words that refer to the quality of God.
Did Hagar speak Hebrew, or was she an Egyptian woman?
I'm not sure if she spoke Hebrew. I mean, unlikely.
Right. So where did she come from?
There's a dispute among the sages whether she was an Egyptian princess or whether she was a slave girl.
It doesn't matter.
There's two different traditions. One that she was a slave girl, one that she was a princess.
Was she from Egypt or not?
Yeah, I just told you the dispute among the sages whether she was an Egyptian princess or an Egyptian slave girl.
For a man who studies, you don't really listen, and you know listening is an art. Listen is an art. Speaking over me don't make you right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. You're trying to gotcha. You're trying to expose me, or you're trying to ask me a question. It sounds like you're trying to expose me, not ask me a question. I'm just trying to have a conversation. I'm not claiming I'm this great state speaking on behalf of God. Like, I studied in good schools. I take this stuff seriously. If you want to ask me a question, I'll try to answer it. If you're here to expose me,
I think what he's saying, David, is that when he's trying to speak, sometimes you'll cut in a bit. It was when he's talking, where he'll let you speak. But go on, say what you were saying.
I just want to ask him a question, because all of a sudden when we read the Bible, this is what I don't like with these mythology freaks. When we read the Bible, it's plainly telling us what it is. Now I ask you, if she's an Egyptian woman and you're stumbling, do you know why you're stumbling? Because she wouldn't have used El-Roi, would she? So you go to your text to verify what an Egyptian woman is saying, full well knowing that she wasn't calling on Jehovah, was she? She wasn't calling on Jehovah because she would have used a different name, my friend. Why can't you just admit that?
Because that's not my understanding. I mean, if that's what you're trying to advance.
Okay, and your understanding, you didn't even know what name she called on, but now you have an understanding.
Well, no, I didn't. I mean, I've read this. I've read the book of Moses 100 times. I don't have it memorized.
Oh my God. Jesus.
I mean, so you say you gotcha. Like, okay, I didn't have your Genesis 16:13 memorized. You got me.
My friend, do you think I'm trying to injure you in the argument?
Well, I'm not sure what you're trying to do. Like, no, I didn't have Genesis 16:13 memorized.
Do you think I'm trying to injure you in the argument?
Well, I'm not sure what you're trying to do.
I'm asking you questions about what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, well, it seems like you're trying to expose me. Like, so I'm just doing my best to answer your questions, and you're trying to like prove that like I'm a fraud or something like that.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! Go on, my friend.
I mean, like, is your goal to prove I'm a fraud, or you just asking me some questions?
Nah, I think he's asking you questions, but you're assuming that he's trying to do. I don't know why you're thinking that, but he's saying that you're assuming that he's trying to fraud you or do that, but he's not doing it. He's literally just asking you questions. So I think he's basically saying that if Hagar, like what you said Hagar, it's a matter of it's a disputation, or they don't know. Either she was an Egyptian slave or she was an Egyptian princess. Either one, I think he's saying, obviously, she most likely would have been speaking Egyptian. So he was asking you if she was speaking Egyptian, yeah, if she was a slave, or even if she was a princess, she definitely would have been speaking Egyptian. He's basically asking if she called out to a god or whoever she called out to, would she have been saying that in Hebrew, or would she have been saying that in the tongue that she was obviously raised in? Obviously, if she was an Egyptian princess or an Egyptian slave? Would it have been Hebrew, the name of the creator she was speaking, or would it have been an
This is the
Egyptian?
Mosaic account. So like Moses, we don't have the answers to that. We have our rabbinic understanding of the verses, but just looking here at 16:13, Vatikra Shem, the Yud He Vav He, she calls to the highest name of God, the same name that Abraham called God by. She was Abraham's wife. She bore Abraham's child. It makes sense that Hagar knew of the name of God. And from what I see here, El Ra'eh is not a name of God. That's referring to an attribute. El could be just means master. And so in the Bible, sometimes El refers to the master of masters, God. But it's a generic word that just means master. And so here, the verse is clearly saying that she called the name Jehovah, and that this Jehovah answered her.
So she was speaking. So the question I asked is, so she was speaking Hebrew, because I think that's where we're trying to understand.
No, we
because
don't know that. Moses
that's
is
what I'm
giving the
saying.
account of what happened in Hebrew.
Okay, but
So
that's
we
the
don't
point.
know whether she spoke Hebrew or not.
But
We
then
only know
that's it.
that Moses is telling the story in Hebrew.
Yeah, but that's the point. Okay, then thank you. So that's so therefore, that's Moses' account. We don't know exactly what she called, and I think that's what Brother Rich is trying to get at, because
He uses the name
if this
Jehovah.
is Moses, if this is
Moses
account,
writes that she called on. It says specifically shame.
brother,
I mean, just look what's on your screen.
Let me finish. Yeah, but brother, let me finish. You just clearly said you don't know what she would have been saying. You said that this is Moses' account. So what I'm trying to say is, we don't know. You're right. We don't know what language she might have used at the time, but what we have here is Moses' account. So Moses obviously is a Hebrew, and he's obviously giving his account in his language. If it was someone else that was from Greece or from China or from India or something, they probably would have said, she said the same thing in their language. So what Brother Rich is trying to say is, what was the language she would have been actually speaking? Because it clearly says that she was an Egyptian. You said either an Egyptian slave or an Egyptian princess. She clearly would have been speaking her language. So he wants to know if how could it be possible, if she's speaking an Egyptian language, how could it be a Hebrew god that she's calling on to? Wouldn't it most likely be an Egyptian god or an Egyptian deity, because it's in her language?
No, I mean, this verse right here, what we have on the screen, 16:13, the Vatikra Shem Hashem says that she called the name Jehovah, which is the same name that Abraham called by. So she might have still believed in Egyptian gods. That we don't know that. What we know here in this verse is that when Hagar called upon God, she called upon the exact same name that Abraham used to refer to God.
Family. Hold on, family. I just want to let you guys know we've gone over allowed it to go over the 2-hour mark, but I can't allow it to continue over the 2-hour mark at this point. And what I'm going to say is, although I'm going to be closing down the show, I am going to leave the back chat. So if you want to come in through the StreamYard and have a conversations with Brother David, Sage, or Medicine Man, you can join us off air and join the link, right? But family, it's been a great discussion so far. I'm glad somebody put that up. I was just about to use those words. It's been a great discussion so far. I'm loving it. And I'm hoping that we're going to have more. We're going to continue with the Ramadan series. Apologies if we didn't get into a lot of the Ethiopian information that you guys wanted to get into. But at the same time, it's not often that we have a nice panel like this where we can get loads of ideas just flowing and have different people on the panel coming from different backgrounds and, just touching base. So family, I'm going to say peace and love. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. But if you would like to, join us off air and we'll continue this discussion. Peace and love. Catch you guys later.